Welcome to the Anime Reviewers. I'm Matt.
I'm Zach, and today we are going to be talking about Jujutsu Kaisen episodes 15 and 16, Kyoto Sister School Exchange Event, Group Battle, parts 1 and 2. So the reason we decided to do these two episodes together is because of the way they flow from one into the other so well. On top of which, it's a part 1 and part 2.
Yeah, which looks like it's going to be kind of a mini arc, ultimately.
Yes.
Because the zero, episode 14 was like the zero episode, but that had like enough to where we felt...
That had its own setup.
Yeah, to where like these really, there's not much to say about each episode because how it's pure action and just a fight scene between a couple characters, and then there's a little bit of things that happen. Part 1 starts with a funny little speech given by Satoru over a loudspeaker to all the students. And then he tells them all to begin, and they explain the rules of the tournament.
A little bit.
Yeah, they explain the rules of the battle. And the Kyoto students and Tokyo students start running towards the center of the island. The Kyoto students make a beeline right for Itadori. And Toto just goes after the Tokyo school students, and that's like pretty much where everything where the action picks up, and he encounters all the students from Tokyo. He got there before, way faster than anyone else, and Itadori just knees him right in the face, like immediately.
Yeah, and the rest of the Tokyo students break into pairings and break away from that fight. It's Megumi and Maki in one group, and then Panda, Toge, and Nobara in a different group, and
Yeah,
they split up. Oh, that fight between Itadori and Toto is so much fun.
The choreography and just the action and their movements is
It's so great.
It's just top notch, just high level stuff.
And what I really enjoy, and it's going. I'm going to be talking a small bit about part 2, but like in the beginning of the fight, Toto gets the upper hand and is beating down Itadori. Puts him up against a tree and like pounds his face in, and thinks Itadori's knocked out, and is like, oh well, and pauses and turns around and is like, okay, well, who am I going to chase next? And Itadori gets up, and
Toto gets excited about Itadori getting back up, and immediately asks Itadori what kind of woman he likes.
yeah,
And Itadori is like, you're asking me this now? And then he's like, well, I guess if I have to say, I want a woman with a tall woman with a huge ass.
like Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence. And Toto just immediately falls in love with Itadori. We're going to be best friends!
And yeah, he ends up having a fantasy sequence, which is it's a hysterical fantasy sequence, and I think for the fact that he does not know Itadori at all, really captures Itadori's character. And when he comes out of the fantasy, he's like, we're best friends. But their whole fight arc, from like the very start to a little bit at the end of episode 15 and even the beginning of 16, I really enjoy, because we're getting to see like Itadori slowly get better during the fight. Because at first he's being outmatched by Toto, and he's landed maybe a handful of hits at the beginning, and then sort of as it's going, he's landing more and more hits, which is very, very fun to see. And Toto's reactions the whole time that they're fighting is great.
Well, what I really like is if you really pay attention, Toto's letting him hit him.
I think some of the time yes, and some of the times no. Because one of Toto's like go-to fight moves, I guess, or at least for right now, is he throws a right hook. But now Itadori is throwing a left upper to counter it. So I don't think he's letting him hit him every single time. I think what Toto's doing is using a lot of the same movesets to force Itadori to change his fight style to be a little bit more to assess the situation better.
Yeah, and while they're fighting, the rest of the Tokyo students realize that, and they're separated, and they just kind of realize it's on their own, that all the Kyoto students they haven't seen any of them except for a witch girl flying around, so they immediately decide.
Well, they realize that the Kyoto students are moving together. towards where Itadori was left. Because Megumi's dog can pick it up, and more than likely Panda has enhanced senses as well.
Well, but he's also super wise. That seems to be his greatest strength, is he's just super wise.
Yeah.
So I think he just put it together because in the beginning of the second part of this group battle 2, episode 16, the witch looks at Nobara and it says, "Oh, pretty wise person." It's like, "Oh no, it must have been Panda." But anyways, they realize that Panda tells Toge to go find the curse that they're that the mission, the whole reason they're doing this contest. And Panda and Nobara go to help Itadori, and then Megumi and Maki, all realizing of their own volition that the same thing is happening, go to help.
So the Tokyo students end up confronting the Kyoto ones after the Kyoto ones have already tried to confront Itadori and Toto and get involved in their fight, which is an amazingly done scene because Itadori is having to dodge around the Kyoto students and basically just keep moving until he ends up in a position where he is completely surrounded. And even Itadori realizes the fact that they're trying to kill him. Even he's like, wait a minute, because he realizes he's surrounded, and he pauses for like a half second, like, are they trying to kill me? Or I forget his exact words, but it dawns on him that they're trying to kill him. And we get the briefest of glimpse of Toto's powers, because all of a sudden you hear and Itadori and Kamo, who have switched places. Itadori's completely shocked. He has no idea what happened. Kamo is put off by it at first, because he thinks it's Itadori's power, and then he's like, wait, no, this has to be Toto's. And then Toto's like, I told you I'd kill you if you get involved in the fight. I was like, no, you didn't. He's like, you said don't order you around. And Toto does not care. He's like, same difference.
Then they're all like, okay, we're not going to mess with it. And they kind of start to break off. And then all the other Tokyo students show up. And then everyone kind of breaks off into their little pairs.
Yeah.
Who they're going to fight. As well as there's a witch girl that's with the Kyoto school that was looking for, like, she was the one looking for the curse.
Well, no. Initially, her job was to track down Itadori. But now that they have to retreat, because if they get involved with the fight, Toto will
wreck them.
Absolutely fight the Kyoto students. She has to go looking for the curse because she's that school's scout.
And then Megumi attacks her with his Shikigami Nue, the weird owl bird thing that seems to be common in a lot of Japanese, like, fantasy type stuff.
Yeah.
And she gets knocked into a tree, and then they go in a counter, and then right at the end of the episode, you see Nobara and Panda standing under the tree,
harassing the witch.
Yeah, they say in unison, "Come out and play." Yeah. And that's pretty much the end of the first of episode 15.
Yeah, and the transition into 16 is that actually goes back to the Toto and Itadori fight, and
Toto gives him a crash course.
Toto gives him a crash course in how to more efficiently use his power, because Toto doesn't like the fact that Itadori, because Toto at one point comments about the fact that Itadori's raw strength is stronger than Toto's. But what Toto has a problem with is the fact that, like, it is his divergent fist, is the fact that he's hitting with one impact and then his cursed energy is hitting. And he feels that because Itadori has a similar power set to him in the fact that they're just raw strength, he wants to raise Itadori to his level of how he manipulates cursed energy. Because even he talks about the fact that, like, yes, sorcerers channel cursed energy. This is correct. But most sorcerers think of channeling as it goes from one point in the body to this point to that point to then here. It's most sorcerers think of the body as separate segments for the purposes of channeling, and Toto's like, that's not inherently wrong, but it's the wrong way to use your cursed energy. You need to think of the fact that we live in a world, body, mind, and soul as one entity. don't separate your cursed energy from your body, incorporate it. Is basically what he's getting across. And we see the fact that Itadori is slowly picking it up, and then it cuts away from their fight. And I really wish it didn't, because I wanted to see that.
Yeah.
I want to see them get there.
What they do give you
But they do give you an epic fight.
where it goes to where Panda and...
Yeah, it cuts back to Panda and Nobara. And they're harassing the witch, and Nobara's trying to get her angry and agitate her to, I guess, make mistakes or something. And then Mechamaru attacks Panda from behind.
And looks like he just takes them out.
And looks like he takes him out. And because he's like, oh, he's a cursed corpse, I hit his core, he's going to be down for a while. And Mechamaru initially says he'll take on Nobara, and then the witch is like, no, I'll do it. Like, I got to teach her a lesson because she's insulting Mai and has no idea what she's been through. And then Panda pops up and darts towards Mechamaru.
Yeah, he's like, just kidding, gets up, charges him.
Yeah.
And then they have one of the most epic fights, and you learn that, like, Panda's backstory, that he's actually, like, a special doll made by the principal from the Tokyo school.
Well,
that was raised.
To be precise, he is a cursed corpse.
Yeah,
that is technically what he is. Because that is what the principal's ability is cursed corpse. Which is so much fun because he is way more unique than any other cursed corpse in existence. And even like in his backstory, the principal's talking about the fact that Panda is the evolution of the cursed corpse technique, essentially. Because we find out most cursed corpses, as far as the Jujutsu world is concerned, have one core. If you take it out, the corpse stops moving. What we learn with Panda is the fact that he actually has 3 cores, which is super cool because we find out what 2 of them are, which is his normal one, which is Panda. We find out his older brother is the gorilla core, and then he has an older sister who's very shy, and we don't know what she is or what she'll do. I hope we will find out at some point, though, because if it's anything like what Gorilla is, I'm super hyped.
Well, what I love is when he channels into the gorilla one, is because the Panda one got Mechamaru did enough damage to Panda to where he had
Panda core, yeah.
to the Panda core that he had to switch the gorilla. And the gorilla he still looks like a panda, but he's got gorilla traits. Like he's got gorilla hands and gorilla feet, and he's like a lot ripped.
Yeah,
and he's got these huge jaws with these giant teeth.
Yeah, it kind of looks more like, in my opinion, it looks more like a gorilla with panda coloring.
Yeah, and he still has the panda face. We see Mechamaru. We learn Mechamaru's backstory, and he's a guy who had like most curses, they make a deal like how Itadori did. But his curse was forced upon him at birth, and he doesn't have legs he doesn't have his right arm. And he's super sensitive to light, even moonlight. And he's like, when they show his actual form, not the Mechamaru, he's like in Band-Aids. Kind of like the second villain in Rurouni Kenshin,
Yeah.
Samurai X. Then they have this epic brawl, and Panda just beats the snot out of him.
But not at a cost, I will say. Like, they don't have Panda be super OP.
Oh no, but he has to go all out. It's
Panda has to go all out, and even then, Panda, because we get a lot of Panda's internal monologue, Panda's not sure he'll even be able to win. He's like, I have the advantage in close combat, but we see Mechamaru pull off techniques and movements that surprise Panda. He's like, oh, he's used to the.
And Mechamaru wounded his sister
at the very
beginning.
The first core he hit happened to be the sister core. And during the fight, Mechamaru decides to use his ultimate technique, which is what drains the Panda core's energy, which is why he ends up in Gorilla Core. But the fight between the Gorilla Core specifically and Mechamaru is so much fun. And we actually even get to learn that Panda has the ability, because Panda hides how many cores he actually has, he can manipulate his cursed energy to basically falsify where a core is, which is ultimately how he ends up winning the fight, because he condenses his...
he predicts that Mechamaru is going to set up because he recognizes Mechamaru's used all of his energy in regard to his range attacks. So he knows his next one's going to be a precise one where he sets it up. So he basically lets him, like, and it's a very common thing in any kind of, like, fist fight competition.
Yeah.
Where you let your opponent hit you somewhere, but you know that's coming so you can get that decisive counterattack and just completely overwhelm your opponent. It is exactly what he does. He calls the move he's going to make, and then he takes the hit, and then he has a monologue explaining how he outsmarted him and then proceeds to rip his arm off.
Yeah, that is right. Yeah, he ended up ripping his, like, smashing his face in, the machine's face in, and ripping its arm off. And I do like the fact that, like, as angry as Panda was and distressed as he was, like, after they're done fighting, he has a genuinely friendly conversation with Mekamaru. And I really do enjoy that. The fact that we're getting to see the fact that, yes, these students are having to fight each other, but Panda calls out the fact that ultimately we're on the same side. We have the same goal. Like, we can be friends. We can, you know, while Panda's having this emotional conversation with him and trying to be friendly with him, Mekamaru makes a comment about the fact that, oh, I doubt you'd feel the same way if you saw how I truly looked. And Panda's like, I don't care. I'm a panda.
Yeah, that's such a great
If you need help, let me know.
If
you have a goal that you can't complete on your own, I will help.
I love how they associate his reaction and give you a sense of what his reaction is by simply having Mekamaru have, like, a realization where he thinks about all of his friends from the Kyoto school, to where he's not friends with the one girl. Is it Maki? It's the leader who had the bow. I don't remember that guy. We said it. Yeah. He's like how, like, every one of the Kyoto school treats him, and all the female characters are always asking him, using him as a little errand boy. And then you get a sense that he, like, who he's actually fond of, because the blue-haired girl with the katana, I don't remember her name, but she's always nice to him, and Toto he's also giving him advice similar to how he's doing with Itadori.
Yeah.
Then everyone else is just kind of, like, blowing him off, or they're off doing, like, thinking they're not as close to him, and it's nice how it's showing how it's giving you a backstory of those characters more, like, if you a piece of who they are, and then also how it also kind of implies how he's interpreting what Panda is saying.
Yeah, I think that's it for this these two episodes. I mean, there is a lot more that goes on that we didn't talk about. There are definitely conversations, and definitely go watch them. They're very good, but these were definitely the standout moments for this.
And pretty much the main story plot.
And the main story plots, yeah. This show is so good.
Yeah.
I am loving the animation between the fight scenes. I'm loving the fact that we're getting character development and growth and sort of butting heads, but coming to a friendly resolution. I like the fact that the majority of the students are students. They're kids. They're having childish reaction to things, but they're also sort of that high school age, so they're also trying to be a little bit more adult-like, and it's so good.
Yeah, and I like how
I will say you get a really, really good sense of like all the major characters you see in this one. You get a really good sense of who they are.
Yeah, that's what I really like about this show is every single character gets development and it's not solely, like, super focused on any one of them. I mean, obviously certain ones are favored more in each episode, but everyone is getting a sense of life.
Yeah,
like, it's not that they're just like, oh, he's the strong, reckless one, or this. Like, they're all people.
They're not one note or one character trait. That's all that they are. They're dynamic characters, and that's going to be really interesting once we learn about. Because it's hinted at in this episode, Mai's backstory is probably something we're going to come across. Because up till now, Mai has ultimately been a one-note character. Yeah. She's been an aggressor, and condescending, and that's really it.
And they hint at her.
And they hint at having actually a troubled backstory, and that's why. So I'm excited for where that's going to... I kind of want to see hers. Like, I don't personally like her as a character, but I want to see why she is the way she is.
Yeah.
But I'm not a huge fan of the overconfident, condescending person. Like,
Well, because
but it
they're
could
always
be a good character.
They're always one note in the sense that they're always gonna have to kind of eat their words.
Yeah.
And they're never as good as they think they are.
Yeah, but I am interested to see how she got that way.
Yeah. I'm like, my biggest complaint is the fact that all these episodes aren't out now.
Yeah, we have to watch it weekly.
Every time an episode ends, I'm just like, really? No, give me more. No.
Yeah.
But that's everything. Thank you for watching.
Have a good one.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And hit that bell icon for notifications. Also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Links in the description down below.